Welcome, everyone, to the Fast and Fabulous podcast, episode 39. And this morning, I am joined by Jess, who is joining me from Pennsylvania, where she is stuck inside in a snowstorm. Jess, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm like Facebook friends with you. So I'm like fangirl just a little bit that I get to meet you and see your face.
I know, this is so cool. It feels like I've been following you really since like 2020 when you started, same year as me, just like a few months later.
Yeah.
And here we are finally meeting, and I'm finally going to hear your story. I am so super excited. Thank you so much for
Yes,
taking
I'm
the time out of
excited.
your day. I know that you're stuck in in the house with the snow and the kids and the cold, but thank you for being here
Yes,
and enlightening us with your story. And hopefully it inspires somebody's today. So I'm going to
very
start
good.
out the way I always do, which is how and when did you first discover clean intermittent fasting?
So I don't really recall where I heard Jen Stevens or Delay Don't Not Deny. But I started in September of 2020. And I don't really know why I decided to take on a diet plan in 2020 because at that point we were locked down still. I was homeschooling. I have right now I have a 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So back to 2020, they were all minus 3 years old than they are now. And I don't know why I'd want to do such a thing. That's my dryer making noise. um,
All good.
so
We all dry
we
clothes.
were I think I went to the actual bookstore and I'm an Amazon shopper. Like if I don't have to go to the store, I'm happy with that anytime. Like, nope, let's just add that to the cart. But I had to go to the actual Barnes and Noble and buy Jen's book. So that is where I found it, but I don't know. Maybe it was an epiphany. I don't know. It was probably because I was Googling ways to lose weight and still drink wine. I don't know.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you found it in Barnes and Noble and you picked it up,
Yes.
and then what?
So I started right away with the clean fast. Thankfully, I do like creamy coffee, but it didn't break my heart that I couldn't have it. My mom is an avid coffee drinker and my grandma, and that's just I was like, well, that's what, strong women do is they drink black coffee. Yeah,
I
get it.
like that.
So
Yeah.
so it wasn't really a struggle for me. I think when I started off, I was doing maybe 18. I mean, I would fast and this is my journey has been the kind of the same with my protocol. Right now, I do 20 is my goal. Sometimes when we get crazy, that's 24. Sometimes when we are crazy and I need to eat something, it's 14. So right now I'm kind of up and down, but I've been in it a long time at this
Yes.
point. When I started out, I think I was like 18. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
super.
Yeah.
You made it.
And you can still drink wine, right? So you
Yes.
at first you were still drinking your wine, and do you still enjoy your wine in your windows?
Not really. So I decided that I was going to do dry January. Um and it just doesn't serve my body, especially I'm going to be turning 43 in February. So I'm like getting into this perimenopause garbage stuff that like we all have to deal with. And I just find wine gives me I don't sleep well, I'm hot, I'm sweating, and I don't feel great the next day. And I have three crazy busy kids and I cannot be
Mm, sounds
hungover.
familiar.
It's not serving my purpose anymore. So
Right.
I really am leaning into sobriety and taking that on for 2024. So that's
I
new.
love that. I love that. I love that. So that's to me like an off the scale victory, because
Yes.
look, you're 4 years in almost, and
Yep.
now you're coming to this conclusion, this epiphany at 40, almost 43. By the way, I'm turning 43 too. So happy early
Yes.
birthday. Uh so yeah, all those things are off the scale victories, even though
Right.
you like wine and in the moment it's great, but all these things that's making you feel are kind of like, now we're going to take it off the table for now and see how I feel.
Right.
So it's like another step to better health 4
Right.
years later. So
Yep.
let's go back to 2020 really
Yep.
quick in time. And so how much weight did you initially set out to lose when you came
Well,
into
so for
this?
goodness sakes, this is a well, I mentioned my grandma. My grandma, she's like turning 84. And she is the person that I look to for like that I've seen diet a whole bunch. Like
Yeah.
at 84 years old, she still goes to diet club, quote unquote. And I think
Wow.
they just go and hang out there, but they have to get on a scale, like at
Yeah.
84 years old. And she's always on a program that's also quote unquote. I'm on a
Yeah.
program. I can't have that. Or she has to weigh in on Friday. Oh, I can't have that. I can't eat now. And I'm like, Grandma, you are 84. You have lived a long, beautiful life. Don't diet. Like,
Oh my goodness. Grandma.
so that is
Yeah.
who I grew up with. Like that was one of my grandmas that I
Okay.
spent the most time
Okay.
with. And she was like a Weight Watchers coach, and she made Lifetime, and at that time she was so beautiful and skinny, and I'm like, oh, look at her. But then we would go home and we would eat things like brownie mix with water. That was like her treat that she made, and I was like, oh, that tastes good. But like just kooky stuff like that is what I remember like from my
Gosh.
young diet brain,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, well,
Wow.
she's on a program, but she doesn't do that on Friday because she's got to weigh in. Like that's the kind of stuff that I was like, it's weird, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
um and so that is my I can't really remember. I was always like, as a child I was a healthy weight.
Hmm.
Going into high school I was a cheerleader. I did swimming, and I rode horses from like 8 to 18. I rode and showed horses, and I showed livestock. So I was super active, did tons of activities. But always I was like comparing to my one friend in high school. She was the skinniest little bittiest thing, and I was
Mm.
just not built like her. I had muscles, and I was
Yeah.
able to pull around a 1,200-pound steer and like,
Yeah.
you know, do all
Different
this stuff.
bodies. We're all
Yeah,
different.
right.
Oh,
But in my 17-year-old mind, I'm like,
sure.
God, I just want to
Yes.
be so skinny like her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that is kind of what I mean, never overweight in my high school days. Um, Going past that, I graduated high school in 99. Oh, it's so long
Class of
ago.
99. You're so fine. Sorry.
Um,
Showing our age.
so there's even a song about it. If you don't know
Hmm.
that, you need to go back and listen to that.
That's right. A good one, too.
So I remember, I think I might have been like, I don't know, a size 10, a size 12. Back then we had like American Eagle was like, those
Hmm.
were the jeans to have.
Yes.
Of course, they
Yes.
were low rise,
Oh,
and
yes.
no, like mine weren't stretchy. So I think I remember having 12s in
Yeah.
those.
Okay.
And that was like going into college
Hmm.
sizes. Um, I remember like all through college, never, I mean, I gained weight. I can't remember a weight like everyone else. Everybody's like, I was this weight
Yeah.
in high school and college. I
Yeah.
never can remember that. Um, Out of high school, I did, yes, I can do that. So I think I probably graduated around like 150, 160-ish. I don't know. I was in a 12 probably.
Hmm.
I met my husband the day I graduated high or college. I went
Hmm.
to some party, and I met my husband that I eventually married. Um,
Wow.
and I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy that I am gonna marry. And I
Wow.
remember like my weights around there, I was probably, I don't know, 175-ish, and
Hmm.
I'm 5'6".
Okay.
So, I mean, that's just, I mean, never, I was probably, that's overweight or obese. I don't know. The BMI is garbage anyway, so
It
I don't
is.
pay
It's
attention
total
to that.
garbage. Right. Exactly. But you were comfortable. You were happy,
Right.
comfortable.
Yep. At
Met a
that I
perfect
was.
dude, you know. And then
Yeah. And I'm
what? And
like,
then
this
what
is
happened? You got married, and then what? Then what happened, Jess?
so, yep, we took a little while to get married. I of course gained weight because we would just go out for yings and wings. We
Sure.
would ride the snowmobile and go to the bar all night. Like that's just what we did, and we were just living our best life.
Sure.
Um, we got engaged and got married. I had like write out down all my dates and my weights. Um, I
Dates
was
and weights.
dates and weights. Um, when this was in like 2003, I graduated, and we got
Yes.
married in 2008.
Okay.
Um, and had a beautiful wedding. It was so exciting.
Oh,
It was so much fun and so much love. But within our first year of marriage, I was pregnant in August. So
mm-hmm.
the next August,
Mm-hmm.
August
Mm-hmm.
2009. My husband came to me at our fair. We show cattle. So I was at the
Yeah.
county fair. He was at work. He shouldn't have been there. And he like walked up to me and he said, I was like, first off, why are you here? It's in the middle of the day. And he says, well, I got some results from the doctor, and I have melanoma, and I need to go
Oh,
to, they have an appointment for me in 2 days. So
oh
this is
my
within
God.
our first year of marriage. I am pregnant, 7 months pregnant with our first baby. So excited. And my husband is diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my
So
gosh, Jess.
this is a whole different story for a whole different podcast, but that is um where we would be going. When I got married, I was like 180. Of course, at this point, I am pregnant. The highest weight I remember is being like 200 pounds, and that was when I
Mhm.
was like full on pregnant, ready to have
Mhm.
these babies.
Right.
Um, in our marriage, we just continued with this. He went into remission
Oh, thank
um
God. Yeah.
for about 5 years, and in this time I had another baby, so we had two little girls.
Okay.
Campbell is my oldest and Lennox is my middle now.
Okay.
So we had those two babies in 2015, early 2015, or yes, 2015. um he started to have some symptoms and headaches, and we found out that the cancer was back,
Oh.
and back with a vengeance, like poisoning everything vengeance.
Oh my gosh.
So um when we found this out, of course, everything that I am concerned with about myself, this is kind of my adult life as it is, my weight and everything. I don't care about that stuff. I cared about my husband,
Oh, of
and I cared
course.
about caring for my children.
Of
So
course.
from like 2010 to 2015, I'm like, I don't care. As long as my husband feels loved and I am an advocate for him and my
Right.
girls are happy and uh, healthy and beautiful, I'm good. And I don't care what I look like and I don't care what's going on, but I'm going to be there for those three
Good
people.
for you.
And that's kind of where I lived my life
Mhm.
until he did pass away in 2015.
So
I
sorry.
mean, the cancer just poisoned everything. I'm sorry, Michelle. This
It's
is a
okay.
different story for a
This is
different
real
day.
life. It's okay. This is real life. I just
Um,
didn't know that about you. And so you
yes.
don't know what somebody has gone through. So always be kind, please. This is just okay. So keep going. I'm so
Yes.
sorry to hear that.
That was when I was 34.
Wow.
So, and he was just a little younger than me. So I had a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And at
Whoa.
that point, I was like, okay, I have no idea what I am going to do. I mean, we had a house and I have a beautiful family. My parents were amazing. His parents are amazing, and those are my in-laws to this day. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't really know how I got through all of that garbage. Like my hair would hurt to the ends of my hair, and my toenails would hurt and it hurt to breathe. I don't know how. I mean, if you have never experienced that, I God wish that you never have to. Um, and I feel like in my life, I have to, my motto was to show up and not shut down, because that's all I had to do. I had two lovely children that I had to take care of. My husband was left me with them to care for. So that is my motivation of my whole entire life at that point, to be like, okay, I just need to show up and be a good mom. Um, and that's lots of the stuff that like where the wine came into,
Of
because
course.
at
Yeah.
that point, I mean, I would just my not even my doctor, this is a whole different story, but my a doctor that I knew, I didn't even see this guy.
Hmm.
He said, oh, if you're really feeling stressed out, I can give you some medication that you can take, and you can, and I'll just give you the prescription, you go pick it up. And I didn't know that. I mean, I trusted him that he was a doctor and he knew what to do.
Hmm.
But those were like, they were like narcotics, and
Oh my gosh.
I could have easily, and of course I just drank a bottle of wine with him. I'm like, I could have like easily went down a road of
Oh
addiction.
my
I have it in my
goodness.
family. And I'm like, okay, that was like probably the worst thing that could ever that anybody could ever offer to me. It was just like a drug dealer saying, here you
Jeez.
go. This will make you feel better. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
A little bit after that, I did go back to work. I'm like, I have to I have my elementary ed degree, and I
Uh-huh.
found a job that I was going to go work at, and I taught preschool, and I loved that. My littlest child could go with me. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I did that for a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, I don't really know. I think I'm going to quit this job and I
Yeah.
should just focus on my own girls.
Yeah.
Um, so that was in like 2016. During all of this time, maybe I should talk about my weight, Michelle.
It I love hearing all this because no, this is all very important because stress, trauma, it all affects our metabolism and our hormones. So keep going.
So I was when I had met someone else. This was in like 2017, a couple years.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know, he was a friend of my husband's. Um and so he knew me and he knew my girls, and all of our friends kind of Joe's friends especially,
Mhm.
and my friends. I mean, they just rallied for a while
Mhm.
and were like, "Oh, we're gonna come help you do this. We will,
Yeah.
plow your driveway. We're gonna mow your grass." And it's funny how, like, after a little while, everyone just kind of goes on with their life, and you're stuck there in that being, I'm still a, 35-year-old widow. But everybody's like, I mean, I couldn't even be with my friends because it would break my heart to see
Right.
someone
Yes.
having affection. Like, I couldn't even
Sure.
do it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so it was just a whole big thing. And lots of those friends stuck around, and lots of those friends did not stick around. And, now that we're in 2024, some of those friends I don't really talk with anymore. It's kind of like the
They
line, we're
come
like,
and go.
get out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I guess I figure out what's important and who's important and what needs to be around,
Absolutely.
I
100%.
actually went to naturopath recently because I'm like, this whole perimenopause thing is really getting to me. I was
Ooh,
just
do
feeling really
tell.
mean. I felt like it must have been my hormones. I'm thinking, gosh, it must be my hormones. I'm just so mean and sharp. And like my girls will just be fighting and I just go ballistic. And I'm like, I'm a mean mom. My littlest one, Kevin and I got together. We do have a third daughter. I don't make boys, I only make girls. So a third daughter. My youngest daughter is 5 right now. Her name
Oh
is
my
Waylon.
goodness. Oh.
Um, so 3 girls. Waylon was
Yay.
very tiny. She was probably like 3 years old. And we were sitting in the car, driving in the car. My dad is a big part of my life too. He lives right down at the big farm, like,
Oh.
quarter mile away.
Yeah.
So we're all together all the time, the 6 of us. And we're riding in the truck one day and we were talking about somebody being mean. And I said, I'm not mean at all. And then Waylon says, you mean sometimes, mommy. I'm like,
Kids tell
oh,
it how it is, don't they?
okay. And really, I was being mean. So
Yeah.
I know a naturopath who we grew up with. We were friends when we were young, and I'm like, I'm
Okay.
gonna come see you.
Okay.
So I told her all my stuff, and she's like, it really sounds like your hormones are off. We're gonna do the dried urine test. I was like, okay, that sounds really weird, but okay. So to see if my adrenal glands were, she's like, and she knows my story too, and she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
with all the trauma and stress that you have dealt with over the last 15 years or whatever it was,
Right.
your adrenal glands are probably just shot. I
Mhm.
That's what I think that it is, she says.
Mhm.
So we're going to do the my cortisol. I mean, she's giving me
Yes.
the whole
Yes. You got
writing
the
down all the whole
works.
thing, and I'm just
Right.
like, what?
Right.
um but that's a lot to talk about your hormones, and
Yeah.
she explained it all out. But
Sure.
that your cortisol, your stress hormone, probably mine has just been on high for my entire like last 10 years of my life. So that
Right.
puts everything off kilter for everything else and all my other hormones that are trying to like pick up the slack for that. And it was just a whole mess. But so I
Mhm.
did the dried urine testing. This was funny. How I had to do it. So you have to do it like at a certain time of your cycle.
Yes.
And mine worked out to be at the county fair, of course, where I'm sleeping in a camper with my 3 girls, Kevin most of the time, my dad all week. So we like I'm like starting and I'm like, okay, people, everybody who lives in this camper right now, I said, I'm going to be leaving some papers on the bathroom sink. Do not touch them. Do not move them. Just leave them be. They have pee on them. Like,
Oh my god.
so I had to go on Friday night and start the first one. So I go down to the camper. You have to do it like as soon as your feet hit the floor, and then it's
Mhm.
like a different time, and then right before you go to bed, and it was like 3 different times in the day.
Mhm.
So I go down to the camper to do my like night one. And my dad and his very good friend are sitting in the camper and they're having a little drink after the show. And they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like getting stuff out of my folder, which it's in. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, you don't want to know. Just don't ask me any questions. And they just kept bugging me. And I'm like, fine. I'm doing a dried urine test. Okay. Like, they're like, oh gosh. I'm like, yeah, you didn't want to know. I tried to tell you that you didn't want to know. But I'm like, well, and now I need a camera or a phone because
Mm.
there's no light in the bathroom. I'm like, could I borrow your cell phone? And then I had to use someone's cell phone to like put it in the bathroom. They're
Oh
like,
my
this
god.
is way too much information. We're just
Yeah.
gonna go. I'm like, yeah, bye.
Right. Shouldn't have
I
asked
need
in the
the
first place,
privacy.
guys.
read the room, get out of here.
Exactly.
But it's very funny when we got my results, um, my doctor was like, very weirdly, everything is fine. I'm like, what? So she thinks that my adrenal glands were just a little bit low, like that it should have been, but she thinks that everything else is trying to make up for it, kind of. So she gave me some supplements that might help, which I wasn't on any multivitamins. I wasn't doing anything like that. Usually, and she was fine with me fasting, and I was like, I've been doing this for a while. Like right now, it's 3 years and 5 months, and I'm like, it's not. I feel great, and I'm really not going to stop. So I don't know. She's like, oh no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's really good for you, and
good.
You go for it.
Good.
She did give me some supplements. She started me on a multivitamin, vitamin C, fish oil, the eyes and the brain.
Yes, girl, fish oil.
And then one more. Oh, adrenal support. So I do take those 4 supplements in the evening, right at the end of my window, or like right when I break my fast. But yeah, I am on those, and I do feel better. Not that I do like them. I mean, I've never been a good supplement taker. Like in the past, I'm like, what's that ashwagandha stuff? I'm like, oh, I need that.
Yeah.
Oh, I need the apple cider vinegar tablets. Oh, I need this. And I take it for like 2 weeks, and then I'm like, this is dumb. I cannot keep doing this every day. So I'm like the worst at supplements. But these, I'm like, okay, these I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this time.
Right. And I think that, a lot of people like blindly, like I blindly took supplements for so long, and I was like you, I saw it, like I'd be scrolling, I'd see it. Oh, this helps this or that helps that. And like, I'm like, oh, I need that. I need this. I need that. I have a drawer of supplements. And then one day I look down and I'm taking like, I don't know how many 20 vitamins at one time. And I'm having like digestive issues at night. And I'm like, oh gosh, I need to take these like as needed kind of thing.
Right.
Anyways,
yeah. We don't need all those.
No, it was too much. Be careful with your supplements, people.
Yeah, you don't need all those.
You don't.
I had so after the only really diet plan I have done, because I'm so bad at them. I did Weight Watchers after I had Lennox. When I had her, I was probably, I don't know, after I had her, I was probably like 185. And I went on Weight Watchers. Of course, I was not going to go get on the scale and like go to a meeting. Just kill me now if I have to do that.
No,
I bought the whole plan on eBay and did it at home and just did it myself. Tracked everything. It had the little calculator. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Sounds exhausting.
Oh my gosh, it was such a pain in my butt. But I did lose weight. So I was down to like 150 at that point. That was after I had finished nursing her. Oh, I have nursed all 3 of my children for 3 years of my life. I have nursed babies. Wow. So I did do that. So I think it was probably, I got more points because I was nursing a baby. But
probably you're burning calories.
Yeah. So I was like, oh good, I get extra food. And I don't remember the food being terrible. Like I just ate regular food, but it was just so much work to track.
Lots of counting.
I did do the Shakeology stuff, for like 2 weeks. I left it in my camper and the mice ate it. I'm like, those things are probably jacked up on those little packets. Because I went in and the mice had chewed like all the packets up. I'm like, oh well, they probably feel really good. They're like full of something. So those are the only 2 that I was like, I'm gonna do this. The Shakeology stuff was like a month. I'm like, gosh,
no.
And I'm really not my gosh. And I don't work out, hate it. No.
So you're not a workout person. Never have been. Not even now. You just see, you don't, it's not a thing. Like people always say to me, oh, but don't you need to work out, right? Not necessarily. Like you do physical work, like you work on a farm, you have 3 children, you're a mom, you're a wife, you do a lot of stuff. You're a business owner. You do work with your body.
That's exercise. Going to the barn and clean the stalls, that's exercise, right? I can count that.
Of course it is. And listen, I've never cleaned a stall out, but I can tell you that it seems like it would be a lot of work. So physical work that you're doing every day counts totally. And you don't need to be busting your butt in the gym every day.
And also I have to spend all my money on my children's sports. So it's not like I am gonna spend money on going to the gym for myself. No, like that's the thing
Yeah.
that's like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So no, I do not work out. But I've always felt like that too. Like I had my roommate in college was like, let's go run. Well, she was on the cross country team in her high school. So she loved it. That was what she did. And she would take me to the gym and I'm like, this is wretched. I hate every minute of this. So
Oh
I
my
was like the
goodness. You
worst
crack
gym
me up.
partner ever. I'm like, let's go get a chai tea. Like, I don't want
You're
to
like,
run.
what is this crap? Let's go get something else. Let's go something fun. Oh my goodness. So listen, back in 2020, your high weight was over 200 pounds when you first
Well, so
started.
that was probably when I was pregnant.
Okay.
When I started in 2020, I was 180
Okay. So you
at
started
that
about
point.
180. And then
Yep.
how long did it take you to get to the goal that you set for yourself?
Well, geez, I don't think I'm going to get to that goal. I think that I have unrealistic goals, and I'll tell you about that. So, when I started in September 2020, I'm like, I'm 180, and people who are much heavier than me probably think, well, that is not bad at all.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but that didn't make me happy, and that wasn't what size I wanted to be. And
Sure.
we all have our own thing that's like, no.
Of course.
Um,
You're not
when
comfortable.
I got down, I was looking back because every month I would take my measurements. I feel like, have you watched the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? It's
Yes,
hilarious.
you were just reminding me of Mrs. Maisel when
Yes,
she measures her
when
whole
she's
freaking body.
measuring everything. Yes, that's what I do.
Was
So
you?
every month,
Stop it.
yes, every month I would start my month off on the first. I would get on the scale and I would measure everything. So I measured my neck. These are my measurements: my neck, my biceps, under like where my bra band goes, my waist, my hips, which it's not really my hips, it's like my saddlebags. You know where those are, right below your
Yeah.
butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my family, we have some real impressive saddlebags. So
Hmm.
that is the part
Those are those
that I
birthing
measure.
hips.
I do. Yes, exactly. um, my thighs and my calves. Those are my measurements.
Wow.
And I have leaned off of those for when I started every single month on the first, I was doing it. I have laid off of that a lot, like 3 years in now. I'm like, whatever. But I did do them just for fun to when I was coming on here.
Good.
So
Because
I
I was going to tell
really,
you, I'm not totally against the measuring thing because
yes,
it's a form of measurement.
right.
It tells a different story than the scale does. So I want to hear
Yes.
this. I'm
And I
excited.
hate the scale.
Me
So
too.
I like in June, this is June of 2020. I'm looking back in my
Okay.
book, in my
Okay.
journal. In 2022 and February of 2023, I was below 160, which
Okay.
I do not see that number very much, which is very surprising to me since I eat one meal a day. I
Hmm.
fast for 20 hours. I'm like, maybe when you asked for someone in maintenance, I'm
Hmm.
like, I am like reluctantly in maintenance because I have not lost any weight since I've been in the 160s since February of like 2023. I mean, June of 2021, I got in size 8 jeans. So my size is shrinking, even though it does not show it on the scale. And that is, I guess, where I'm going to land. Like, right now, I wear size 8 jeans, some sixes if they're like stretchy and high waisted. I'm like, just a tiny bit stretchy. Um, I don't really recall being in size 8 jeans. And
That's
like in my
fantastic, though.
younger days, like I
Yeah.
don't really recall that. So, I mean, I guess this gave me a lot of diet brain, and I love Jen Stevens. I love me some Jen Stevens. I
Me
listen
too.
to everything
Yeah.
that she does. But one day she says her little calculation for how much you should weigh for how tall you are.
Mm.
And by that calculation, that's the one where for 100 pounds, 5 feet is 100 pounds. And then
Hmm.
every 5 pounds after that, you would get another 5 pounds. Well, that means that I should weigh 135 pounds. And
Hmm.
for a while, I'm like, why am I not losing any weight if I should weigh 135 pounds? No, I don't think I have a daughter who wrestles and she weighs 110 pounds.
Right.
Should I be 135? Probably not
You would look
at
sick.
5'6". Yes, I would. At 5'6" and a 43-year-old woman, there's no reason for me to be 135 unless I am like dying of cancer. Like
Yeah.
I
Like I
can't.
said, you
Like,
would look sick. You look very
yeah,
healthy and
yeah.
you look like very like thin and trim and fit.
Right.
And so
I feel like that is the thing. I was like, wait a minute. And I try not to think of diet brain, and I eat what I want, take out the wine. I am good with
Mhm.
that. But that little calculation, it really put a bug in my plan. And I'm like, this is silly. This is silly. There's no way I should be 135. So I guess I'm gonna be okay with 160. I
Well,
feel
I feel
great.
like your body has a set point,
Right.
right?
Yes, that
I,
is it. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't think my set point would be where it is either, but I haven't. I don't really weigh. I'm not a friend of the scale like you.
Yeah.
I don't weigh, but my body keeps changing over the years. I've
Right.
been the same
Right.
weight since I hit my goal in 2020,
Right.
probably like you. And
Yeah.
but your measurements are
My
changing.
measurements. So I'll tell you about my measurements. And I think I just have to, when I listen to everyone else's story, they're like, oh, we have a goal weight. Okay, that goal
Mhm.
weight just needs to go out the window because I am at a size 8. I'm happy with that. I can take my 14-year-old's hand-me-downs that she doesn't want that are size small shirts, and I wear those. Like
I
have
love
to
that.
I shouldn't have to like be a certain weight. I have to let that
No.
go. And I want other
Yes.
people to be able to let that go, to say in their own heads, 160 is perfectly fine. So,
That's really
no, let go of
important.
that.
Let's unpack that for a second. Let's go back to that because I don't think we think about this enough. We set a goal and lots of people say, I want to be this number, and they won't
Yes.
get off that number. I have clients come to me and say, I need to be 130. I will not stop until I'm 130. Well, okay, but you're 135.
Right? Oh gosh. Not 160. But I
But
mean,
you're
really,
135. So
yeah,
but I need to be 130. But here's the thing. Your body might just be set to be 135.
right.
And that's that. And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that.
Right. The number is all up in our head anyways.
We
That
need to get
I
rid
don't
of
even think
that.
I've even, probably in like 7th grade, I had seen 135. Do I need to look like a 7th grader? No, absolutely not. I mean,
No,
that just was never my body type. And
no.
we have to realize that and let go of that
We do. We
idea
have
of
to
a weight.
release that idea that we
Right.
have to be a certain number for our height.
Right.
Because let me tell you, according to my height, I'm 5'3". I should be somewhere between 110 and 140. 140 is the high end. Anything above 140, I'm obese. I'm
Oh yeah.
140.
Oh my gosh. You certainly are not obese, friend.
No, but I mean, like, I've been 140 for many years, and
Right.
I don't care. Like, there was a long time where you said I got fixated on that number, and
Right.
I was like, I need to see 130s, and I did. I've seen 130s, but
Right.
I don't care so much about that anymore. I haven't stepped on a scale in like 6 months to a year. I don't
I
even
should
know.
just throw my scales out. I have my girls hide my scales just for the fun of it sometimes. And then
It's
I'm like,
fun.
then I
Yeah,
bust them out. I mean, I got on the scale to uh, come and talk to you. But I'm like, why would I do that? And also New Year's, I weighed myself. I'm like, why would I do
mm.
that?
Well,
My weight
sometimes
has
it's
just
just
been the
like
same,
checking in with yourself a little bit.
right? But
Yeah,
I'm like, my pants fit. I don't know. The
yeah.
other things that I like check if I am feeling thin or puffy, like my eyebrows, like when I wash my face, my eyebrows are nice and bony. I'm like, okay, like you can see the features on my face so much better. Or like my wrists are nice and bony. I'm like, I'm bony in places that I usually would not have been bony. Like my shin bone, I can
Like
feel
right
like
here.
the ridge of my shin bone. Yeah, my collarbones are
You have
sticking out.
color. That was the first thing I would notice when I started to lose weight. I was
Right?
like, oh my gosh, I have collarbones.
Yes. Yeah, my collarbones are sticking out. My neck is nice and thin. We go up to a restaurant, eat out, and this lady that I knew from high school had came up to me, and she looked sick. These are two ladies and two separate. This was the same night. Um, a girl from high school came up to me and she's like, I don't know what you are doing, but you look amazing. Your jawline is magnificent. You look so good. I'm like, thank you. She's like, your skin is great. You look so great. I'm like, oh, thank you. And I'm like all hot and bothered. So and then the next lady is like, what are you doing? Are you sick? She asked me. I'm like,
What?
no, I'm not sick. No, I am not sick. I'm like, I feel great. Um, And of course, then she was like, well, what are you doing? Are you dieting? What are you doing? And I, of
Uh,
course, told her stupidly, why would I need to tell this random lady drinking her Busch Light what I'm doing with my life, but whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm actually fasting. And she's like, oh, that is terrible.
oh
And
my gosh.
her, her
Keep
little
drinking the Bush Light,
round
lady.
face full of inflammation, holding
Right.
her Busch Light, preaching to me about what is the best for my body. I'm like, this is a joke right here. And I was like, you are not even on my radar of people who I need to listen to tell me what I need to do with my life.
No,
I'm going to
ma'am.
listen to the first lady that told me she loved my jawline. That's what I'm.
Right.
So, of course, everyone in my life, of course, they already know. Like,
So, like, what
most
are
of
you have
everyone I
little
know.
girls. I get this question a
Right.
lot. You have little girls and they look up to
Right.
you and they're probably starting to see, like, models, and they see TV stuff and YouTube now and all this stuff. So, like, I'm wondering, like, your teenager and stuff, like, how do you does she know about your fasting? How do you speak to your kids about it?
Right. So all three of my children, of course, know that I fast. My protocol right now is I fast for at least 20 hours. I mean, we are running to practices every single night. My
Oh
oldest
my,
daughter wrestles on the girls wrestling team.
that's
My middle
cool.
daughter plays travel girls hockey, and my little one is a rink rat and a gym rat and just hangs out with all of us. So
Oh,
they raise steers, we go to shows. I mean, that
you're
is what I do with
busy.
my life. I run my children. Yes.
Yes.
But all of them, I mean, I drink hot water during the day, I drink coffee, and I drink hot water. That is what I do.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me sometimes, well, do you want a piece of this? I love sour candy. I do. Like, I can just have like two
Me too.
pieces of sour candy.
Yeah.
And my my middle daughter Lennox is always like, I'm gonna save this for you, mom, because I know that you'll want to eat it later. I'm like, thank you.
Oh.
So that, I mean, at this point, I've almost fasted Waylon's almost entire whole life after I
Yeah.
got done nursing her. I was, of course, done when I started.
Yeah.
Um, but they're just used to, this is how I eat. My oldest daughter being on the wrestling team, of course, wrestlers are like notorious for having bad diet habits and
Yeah, because they have to make
trying to cut
weight.
weight
Right.
and all that jazz, which I
Yeah.
wasn't excited about. I had not like
Mm.
my late husband Joe, he was an amazing wrestler. And I think that's where Campbell gets it because
That is
I'm
so
like,
cool.
I know. I feel every time she's doing so amazing this year, and every time she's on the mat, I can just feel him just beaming. Like, I was like, yes,
You
I'm
just
so
give me
excited that she
goosebumps. Oh,
tried.
that's so
I'm so
cool.
excited that she tried it, and of course
Yeah,
she gets that from me.
that's so
So
cool.
it makes me tear up too because
It's
I'm
like
just so proud of
he's
her.
living on through her, and
Right,
that's
right.
beautiful.
So I worry about her. She wrestles 110 right now. Um, and she's like, oh, I gotta watch my weight. And of course, she loves to eat. She's 14, so of course she loves to
Sure.
eat and can
Yeah.
really pack in the food. But thankfully, she has a wonderful coach, and she's like, you can wrestle whatever you want. I'm not gonna make you lose weight. So if you
Good.
want to wrestle 110 and that's something you can maintain, you go for it, girl. If
Good.
you want to cut and you want to wrestle 106, that's up to you. But you are in charge of, like, making healthy
Good.
choices and doing that.
Yeah.
And Campbell's like, no, I want to eat Skittles. I'm going to wrestle 110. So that's
Good.
not a problem right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
But they all know that I fast. And of course, that, I mean, they see me and that I'm healthy and I'm happy. And, I'm not like lying in bed from being sick,
They see all your energy and, like,
right?
also I'm sure they see you eat. I'm sure you
Right.
don't.
So we eat every night together.
Okay, so
And
there's that.
that's why I haven't done ADF. I don't want to sit down and not eat dinner with them.
Mhm.
And also I just don't like it. I've tried it before. And if I wanted to, I could. Like, this is what Jen says too. If I wanted to lose more weight, there are ways that I could, but I'm not willing to do that right now. I want to eat dinner with my family. I don't want to have to cook dinner and then have them see me not eat it. I don't want to do that with my life.
Yeah.
So could I get down below 160? Probably. Do I want to? Nah, not really. I think that's why I have to settle with this weight and be okay with that. That's what I'm going to do. Um,
If you're happy there,
every
then it
day.
doesn't matter.
No, right. And I have done ADF a few times, and like, I just feel like I am buzzing. Like,
Yeah.
ketones, I'm like, it's
Mm.
like I'm drunk, kind of.
Mm.
Like, my body is just buzzing and I can't go to sleep.
Yeah, me
The
neither.
next day I wake up and I'm thinking, well, I'm not even hungry because I'm still buzzing. And I just don't. feel good when I do that. I mean, I've tried it a couple times because I'm like, oh, I can do this. This is the next step, you know. It's not the next step for everybody.
It
And
doesn't
God
have to
bless
be.
anybody who loves that and does that. That is not for me in my stage of life right now with 3 young girls watching me. That is not that is not what I want to do
And even like hormonally speaking, as a woman over 40, I mean, not to say women over 40 don't do ADF or can't do ADF. It's just a tool in your toolbox.
right.
So if you were like still sitting at 170 or something and wanted to chase that 10 pounds down, then maybe you would use that tool. But like Jen said, she can do it, but does she
Right.
want to do it? Nah,
Right.
I feel the
Yeah.
same way.
Am I'm not willing to do that right
Oh
now. No.
yeah, I hear you there. I hear you
But
there.
that is where I sit with that. So right now I fast for 20 hours. If we oh, and I love the uppish downish stuff. So that is where I'm falling a little bit.
Mhm.
I have so my daughter Lennox, we have a schedule. She goes Monday and Thursday, she's
Mm.
to hockey. So like those kind of days, if I am feeling it, I will eat right before we leave. Like on Thursday, I have an hour to eat and
Mm.
then I'm done. When I get home from practice, you know, at like 9:30, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
time for bed. And
Right.
I don't eat. So I
Yeah.
literally eat for an hour,
Sure.
one meal in an hour.
Yeah.
And then I do, you know, then the next day I might have a 3 hour window. And on that Saturday, when we go to the tournament and we have hotel breakfast, I eat a bagel with
You
cream
have
cheese.
more of
Like
an up day.
that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at 3 years and 5 months in. I can do that kind of stuff. And I know that I'm just gonna, when the week starts, I'm just gonna fall back into my 20 hours and it's all okay.
See, let's unpack that too, because people, listeners out there who are maybe just starting out on their journeys and feeling like a bit like you're in jail. Because I don't know about you, Jess, but like when I first started, I felt like I was a little bit like I was like mourning my old way of eating, kind of like I want to eat all day too. But
Yeah.
it's like you don't. Let me get back on track here. So, um, sorry, this is my mom brain, the mom brain fog. I'll just edit this right out.
There you go.
Sorry, let's unpack what we were just talking about. We were talking about, this is really bad right now. I'm going to edit this
The
all out.
uppish downish.
Uppish
I'm
downish.
doing uppish
Okay,
downish.
so yes, for listeners out there that are feeling like a bit like they're in food jail,
Yeah.
you're not. There is an end to this feeling. It doesn't
Right.
last forever, and we're sitting here 4 years later, and
Yeah.
we know that if you have a Saturday, breakfast is sitting there, and you eat all day, you just go back to your on Monday, you go back to your regular protocol, and everything just
Yeah.
seems to go back to
Right.
where it was. And that's the beautiful thing about this lifestyle, is that
Right.
as long as you know that you have what works for you, everybody's different, we know that,
Yeah.
what works for you, and you go back to what works for you. And yeah, I mean, like, I think that every weekend I think I have an update like that now,
Right.
because I
Yeah.
can.
And and the thing about that too is when I do that, when I ate hotel breakfast, we had a really early morning game and then we were gonna travel all the way home 6 hours in the truck later. And that breakfast held me over and I had a little late lunch and then I had to drive. I don't want to eat when I'm driving. I mean, it gives me a bellyache now to like be traveling. We travel a lot. So
Yeah.
sitting in the car, like everybody else is like, let's get a breakfast sandwich. I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. I'm gonna drink black coffee. You guys have your sandwich. That's fine with me. Um, like in the beginning, that my nose is really sensitive too.
Mm,
Like coming 3 years into this, that's something that you can expect, people. You're gonna
yes,
have a really sensitive nose. Like
absolutely.
I cannot have flavored chapstick. No way, no how. My daughter has stinky body spray, and I'm like, I think that's gonna break my fast. Like just weird stuff like that. Then I'm like, what in the world?
Oh
You're
yeah.
breaking my fast. Or Kevin will come and kiss me
Yeah.
with peanut butter lips. I'm like, no, get away. You're gonna break my fast.
I
So like
remember
I
having
am
toddlers
super.
shoving food in my mouth, like, here, take this. And I'm like, no.
Oh, get away. You're gonna break my fast.
Don't you know?
So that's I mean, it's just so funny to me now to think about those things. But
Yeah.
when I was starting out, it was fun because I look back on your page to see all my cuckoo posts that I have posted starting back in 2021. I was like,
not
scrolling through them
cuckoo, very
yesterday.
inspirational. Thank you very much. Awesome posts. I've always loved your posts.
Of like, I try, I try to keep things light and funny. If we are not having fun in this life, what in the world are we doing? There's no reason to be having a fit about eating a breakfast sandwich at the hockey tournament. That is silly to be
That is
like,
silly.
that
You're
is
right.
the be all end all of the whole entire universe. No, get a grip. Like, I have been to the brink of be all end all. Like, trust me.
You have.
And that bagel and that 5 pounds, friends, that is not it.
That's not things
That is
that
not what
matter.
we have to focus on.
Right.
So that is like, that is my soapbox.
I love
To
it.
be like,
Well,
that is not what matters. That you
it's
need to let
not.
that go.
It's not. And I really love how we really focused on the number thing. I really hate that. I hate how people are so
Yes,
fixated on a number.
right.
So stop fixating on a number. Maybe
That
we
is Jess's
fixate.
message. Yes,
Yeah.
let that number go.
What about, let's think about this. A feeling, a comfortable, like a comfortable size that you want to
Right,
be. Maybe it's a size 6 or an 8 or whatever it is.
right.
Or maybe it's like a certain adventure you want to do.
Oh, I like that too.
Yeah.
So I have all boy cousins except for one. I have one
Okay.
girl cousin. She's much younger than me. And we would go boating and camping we would stay there for 10 days and we would ski boat and camp for 10 days. And my dad would only let us tube and do the fun stuff after we all tried to ski. So, of course, I was fit back then. I was a swimmer. So I was nice and muscular and lean, and I would pop
Yeah.
right up out of the water. And the guy and my boy cousins would be like, "Oh my gosh, like how do you even do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know, it's easy." Like on one ski, just slalom skiing. So I'm like, forever, my whole life, I could slalom ski. And in those years that I was like 180 after I had those babies, I'm like, "Oh, this is really hard." And I felt like I needed to prove it to my girls who were in the boat.
Mm,
I can freaking still do this. I'm a badass too. I might be your
yeah.
mom, but I'm still a badass. So like it was really hard. Like I would try like 6 times and finally, by the grace of God, like I get pulled out of the water. But that was hard. And I was not willing to accept that I could not do that anymore. Um, so I have not tried to, I have when I was probably 2 years ago, but
Mm.
at this weight and at this level that I am now, I mean, I'm sure I could probably just do it. I could do it.
You should
And
go
I'm
do it.
proud of that. Yes.
Go do it.
I do need to.
It's so like everything that you could imagine. Like for me, it was roller skating. I really wanted
Yeah.
to roller skate again. And, I got back on the roller skates with my son and it was freaking amazing. And
Nice.
I felt like a
Yeah.
kid again. I felt so free. So I highly
Yeah.
recommend making an adventure a
That I should
goal
just
or
see.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yes,
Yeah.
something that's not a number.
Right. Yes.
Get rid of the
My
number.
two oldest girls ski now, like in the last couple years. They
Love it.
were on the skis. I think we put my middle one on them when she was like 4 years old.
That was me.
So that's
Yep.
exciting. And I'm like, I can still do it. So
That's
those are the
sweet.
things that I need to hang on to in my life to be like,
Yeah.
yes, you can still do this as a 43-year-old woman. My great grandfather, the last time he got up on one ski, he was like 72 years old. The next summer he tried it and they were like, Grandpa, you want us to throw you the other ski? And he's like, no, I'm all done. That's for sissies. I'm not using 2 skis at 73. Like, and
Whoa.
my dad is, of course, he's got a big long mustache. I should post a picture of him because he
You
is
should.
amazing. Yeah, he got up on skis. He was in a tractor accident and he got up on the skis after that. It was amazing. But like, he's like, 67. I'm like, this is awesome. This is like a theme. We're going for it.
You got to go for it, man. You really do. That's a
So that's
wonderful
the kind
goal.
of stuff that I need to, that's what you need to
Yes.
focus on. Not that I'm still 160 after, 3 years.
No.
I do have to tell you my measurements though,
So
because I took them and
yes,
I wrote them
because
down
we need to go back to that. I'm still interested.
yeah, from September 2020. So I was
Okay.
I was 180 pounds.
Okay.
My neck was 12 3/4. My arms were 12 and then 11 3/4. My chest was 32. My waist was 32, which is weird. No waist, no waist definition. My thighs were 22.5 and 21. My hips were 40.5. Hi, here's my youngest little baby. Um, calves were 14.5 and 15. So then I add them all up. So my total was 213 inches and 0.5.
Yeah, yeah.
213.5.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just did them, like yesterday. My neck is down by a half of an inch. So
What?
a skinny neck.
Crazy.
I don't know. um,
Shrinking.
both of my biceps are 11 inches. So that's 1.75 down. My chest is 30.5. So 1.5 inches down. My waist, though, this is good. 3.5 inches off my waist. So my waist is 28.5 right now. That's good. I like that part.
Okay. So yeah, 160 and a 20-inch waist, 28-inch waist. Give me a break.
Yes.
Don't worry
Like,
about that number.
I'll
Don't worry about
accept
that
that.
number.
Yeah, the number is out the door. The number's out the door. Waylon. Can I watch TV? She says.
Oh.
My thighs were 20.5 and 20.75. So I lost 2.25 inches off not both of them, but combined.
Yeah.
My hips, saddlebags, it was 40.5 and now it's 37.25. So 3.25 inches off of there. I'm okay with that too.
Oh my gosh, girl. That's amazing. Love
And
an
I had,
autophagy.
yeah, what the heck? So when I totaled them all up. My thighs also, or my calves also went down. Those skinny shin bones sticking out.
Yeah.
Not quite an inch, 0.75 off of my calves, which those are not very
Mm,
fatty. That's not a very
no.
fatty plate.
Mm-mm.
So my total inches were 200.5. So down a total of 13 inches
That's
from 2020
insane.
when I started.
That's
and only
crazy.
and only like I'm not even at 160 right now. Like I'm at 164. So really only 16 pounds in 3 years and 5 months, but
But
over 13 inches down off of my entire body. So that, I mean, if I was only paying
wow.
attention to how much I weighed, I would be like, gosh, I am really stinky at this. This is not working for me. I've only lost 16 pounds. But really, you need to focus on other stuff that I'm in a size 8 and I steal clothes from my, 14-year-old skinny daughter, and that I wear a size 8 and a size small, and my waist is 28.5 inches. Come on. Like those are the things that I need to put in my mind to be like, you are good at this. It's fine. You are fine.
100%. And I think that's going to speak to so many people out there because there are a lot of, go back to that number again. I mean, we're
Right.
so fixated, and a lot of people come into this fixated on a number and
Right.
basically think just coming into this saying, oh, I need to lose X amount of pounds.
Right.
But I'm
Yeah.
here to tell you, and Jess is here to also tell you that it is way, way more than pounds,
Right.
kilos, whatever, the scale.
Either
It is
one.
way more than that. It is a whole health journey. And you just heard 16 pounds, but 13 inches off her body. That's
Right.
body recomposition. That is the beauty of and the
Yeah.
magic of the clean fast. So
Right.
I'm gonna end the way I always end, which is this. There's somebody out there, perhaps listening, maybe struggling, thinking about starting intermittent fasting. What would you tell them to give them a nudge?
Well, I would definitely tell them to read Jen's books and always do the clean fast. And if you're clean fasting, then you it is going to work, and not in the way you always think. You not in the way you maybe want it to, but it is working. And I also tell whoever, I don't really tell very many people in my life. Of course, they all know that I fast, but some of them have been interested in it. Recently, I put a little story on my personal page with like the book, and I'm like, hey, if you are struggling, it might be as easy as feast, fast, repeat. That is all I wrote. And I had like 9 people message me, and they're like, well, I don't know what this book is, but when I see you, you look amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get me some of that. Yes, you
Yeah.
do. You do need to. So I am just putting it out there in little tiny bits. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be, the lady who fasts and tries to preach it to everybody. Like, I don't want to preach it to you, but I'll just give you a little nugget and be like, this is what I do, just so you know, if you want to look into it. And I also think a good thing that I have heard on the podcast is it is simple, but it's not always easy. It's
That is
simple.
true.
I don't eat during the day until
It's very
supper,
simple.
and I drink black coffee and hot water. That is what I do. It's simple. Do I have days that I'm like, oh, but also at this point in my life or in my journey, I am okay. I mean, I know I am in tune with my body enough to be like, okay, I am hungry. I am in a bad mood. That might be the time of the month that's happening, like I need to go eat some cottage cheese and get some protein in me, and that's okay with me. Like, you don't have to, it's not that I never would want to um be have it be a pain in the butt for me to be like, oh, I can't break my fast yet. No, if it is a necessary um shot of protein that I need, like, I'm just gonna go and eat. It's fine. And it makes me feel better, makes me deal better with my family and my children. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay if I fast 14 hours. I do still use my app. Gosh, I love that
Me
app.
too.
I because
What
it
can I say?
also tells me how many hours I have fasted. I
Mhm.
have fasted 24,829 hours. Seriously, that's how long
Wait,
I have
it totals
fasted.
it like
Yes, at
like
the
a
top,
cumulative?
I use what?
I'm so interested. Like it takes your cumulative
Yes,
like
yes.
for all
I
4
used
years.
Fastic. Yes, I used
Holy
Fastic.
smokes.
And it tells me, so if you use Fastic,
I don't,
it's up in
but
the top corner.
I I'm gonna look later. Wow, that's crazy. I
Yeah,
that is a lot
it's
of
crazy.
fasting, but
It's crazy. It's
it
right
works.
there up in the corner is your total. Isn't that wild?
That
And
is
I kind
wild.
of think I'm like getting when I was like close to like, I'm like almost to 24,000 hours. Isn't that madness? Like, that's crazy. But I love that number, and
Me
it just keeps going
too.
up. And
Yeah.
then, like, on there, it tells me I have 408 flames. So for 408 days.
Mm.
But the problem is when I go camping and I go off grid, like around Memorial Day, I don't have my phone on. I don't have any service. So then my numbers get all messed up for those like 3 days. And it's like, oh, you're in trouble. So then I have to like go back and edit it because it like takes away all my flames. I don't, it tells me that I haven't fasted that whole year. And I'm like, yes, I have to.
Yeah.
At that point, I probably was drinking a margarita at noon, but I fasted when I was sleeping.
Right.
I feel so
Exactly.
much better about that too. Like, um,
Yeah.
and I know that if you're gonna cut out something, everybody's all like, "Oh, I'm gonna delay alcohol. I don't really know if that's gonna change anything for me. I mean, I haven't been drinking this month. But it was nothing for me to drink a bottle of wine. Like, my dad and I and Kevin, we all make our own wine. We have like huge carboys in the basement.
Oh
I'm
my
like, so it
gosh.
was just so easy for us to just, it was so accessible. And I'm like, okay,
I
like,
mean,
drink
homemade
a
wine. That
bottle
sounds
of
pretty fantastic.
it is. It's so good. And the alcohol is so much higher. So like like 2 glasses,
And
you're
you're
like
yeah.
feeling amazing. And I do like a good buzz. I like a good buzz. Who doesn't like a good buzz? But the like this month, I'm like, it doesn't have a place right now in my life. Not that I'm never gonna have a drink. Like, I had 2 drinks when we went out for Christmas, our work Christmas party, and they had
Mhm.
these pomegranate margaritas. I was like, oh, I
Ooh,
need 2 of those.
yum.
So it's not like I want to say I'm never gonna drink again and like make it
Yeah.
set in stone, but it just doesn't serve my purpose right now. And it's not because of weight loss, because I know probably, I mean, maybe it will help
It
me
might
shed some
drop a
weight.
little bit.
Who
Yeah.
knows? But like,
But
I
that's not
guess
why
that
you're doing it. You're doing it
no, it's
because
not. No.
it's not serving you, and that's really
Yeah.
important because before IF, you probably wouldn't have come to that realization. And who knows, maybe you would be still taking down a bottle a night of
Right.
wine like I used to do, you know?
Right. Yeah.
We've all been there. We've
Right.
all been there. And
And I think that the mommy wine culture is so bad. It's so bad. Like, it just gives an excuse for us to be like, oh, this is what we do every night. I mean, I don't want to be buzzed dealing with my children every night. I don't want to have a buzz to deal with my children every night. And
oh,
we do so much stuff. And what if I think about this too? What if somebody got hurt and I was the only person that's going to drive them to the emergency room? Should I have a bottle of wine in me? Probably not. So like, though, no, it's not okay for me anymore to do that. So we're just gonna step away from it.
That is
Not that I'm
that
not,
is so
you know,
cool
like,
that you've come to
have
that
you,
realization.
right? And I feel like well, no, I probably wouldn't have if I wasn't listening to my body so much, because
And
my body
IF
tells me.
yes, and IF helps us listen, right?
Right.
I always
Yeah,
like to compare it to
absolutely.
like having a deaf body when we're obese. We're deafened from all of the inflammation. And then
Right.
when we release all of that inflammation and that excess weight, we are able to hear what our body needs. We're not deaf
Right.
anymore. We can hear it. And it's the most beautiful thing. And you just keep
Right.
realizing things and transforming and evolving into the
Right.
best version of you. And what more can you ask for? It's not just
Right.
about weight loss, it's about
Right.
health transformation, life transformation. I am so proud of you and everything that you've done, Jess.
Thank you.
Listen, I truly, truly enjoyed hearing your story. The ups, the downs, the heartaches, the trauma, everything that you've been through has brought you to where you are today. And
Yeah.
you are gorgeous. You're a great mom. And
Thank
I
you.
am just like so excited to get this episode out so everyone can hear your story because you
Very
are such a
good.
huge inspiration.
I don't really think of myself as that. I
Well,
had
you
one of my
should.
one of my 4-H friends just lost her husband in a tree cutting accident. And she messaged me, and I reached out to her because I feel like when I lost my husband, like, I 3 other women in my life were going had then it happened to them too. And I'm like, I okay, so I reached out to them, and I would write them a bereavement card with bullshit in it. I'm like, this is complete bullshit. I am so sorry. This is not fair, and this is not what we should have to do. Um, the my friend who just lost her husband, I reached out to her, and I'm like, I don't really know how you're feeling, and I don't know if you're reading your messages, but please know that I am here for you. You can tell me anything you want to. And if you just want me to write you a little inspirational message, I can do that. You don't have to respond. But like, if my journey that I had to go through by losing my husband and having tiny little kids to have to help grow up, if I can help that one lady, my pain was not wasted. God did not waste my pain. If I can be an inspiration to just one other person who has a broken, shattered heart. And no, it wasn't wasted. I believe that. Yep. Now,
That's
I mean,
beautiful.
back then I was pissed.
Of course, as part of
And
the grieving process.
right, I was pissed, and it was not pretty there for a while. But now, how 8 years later, I can say that I know that it was not wasted. And I can look at my girls, and I see Joe in them every day. Sometimes not so good now that I have a teenager.
Right.
But I look at her and I'm like, this is so your father, like, I
Oh,
can see
yeah.
him in
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
So yeah,
gosh.
but if I can inspire another person to be like, I can do this too. I can show up for this, and I can come out the other end of being shattered on the floor, then I'm okay with that.
Girl,
I have done my duty.
when
Um,
you've been to hell and back, it's like all you want to do is help somebody else who's going through that
right,
same thing. And
right.
you are just passing the torch and passing on like the good support that you got when you were
Right.
going through the same thing. And
Yeah.
fasting is a lot like that. And we all depend on each other.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
huge support group. And I'm so inspired by you, really. And I'm really excited to have this episode come out. It should be out in the next few days. Exciting.
Okay.
So I'll let you know when
All
it
right.
happens. And
All right.
thanks for coming on. And
Oh,